Genshin Impact. Sigewinne's kit leaked. As I already mentioned, regarding Fontaine's main story, Sigewinne is a nurse, and what role would fit her better than that of a support? Funnily enough, that would make her the 5th unit with the smallest body type to be a healer. The only exceptions to that rule are Nahida and Klee, who are also super small, but pretty much as far away from a healer/buffer as they could be. Sigewinne, auto attack, tidal precision, normal attack. Sigewinne performs up to 3 consecutive shots with her bow. Charged attack performs a more precise aim shot with increased DMG. Plunging attack fires off a shower of arrows in midair before falling and striking the ground, dealing AoE DMG upon impact. Sigewinne, elemental skill, maritime sedation. Sigewinne uses her dart gun, granting all nearby characters in your party the Frontimer Flurry state. This state has different effects when being tapped or held. Tap fires down a tidal dart, dealing AoE Hydro DMG to enemies it comes in contact with. Hold goes into aiming mode and locks onto one enemy. During this time, Sigewinne resistance to interruption is increased, and is also charges up her dart gun up to 3 flurry levels. Characters under the Frontimer Flurry state will gain the following effects based on the hydro elemental reaction they created during said state. Freeze increases freeze duration by a certain amount. Electrocharged increases EM by a certain amount. Vaporize DMG is increased by a certain amount. Bloom increases EM by a certain amount. Hydroswirl increases EM by a certain amount. These effects can be increased by the number of opponents you hit with your dart gun. Sigewinne, elemental burst, clumsy bump. Sigewinne drops her medicine, dealing AoE Hydro DMG on appearance, and creating Surging Descent, which has the following properties. Applies the wet state to opponents, which got hit by the initial AO. Characters within Surging Descent restore a certain amount of HP based on Sigewinne's max HP. Non-active units will do the same with a smaller amount than the active one. Important to note is that the more enemies you hit with the AoA, the shorter the interval between healing instances will be. Next to that, there can be 2 Surging Descent fields at the same time, which will give you 3 changes of Tender Leap. Tender Leap will be unleashed should 2 Surging Descent fields created by Sigewinne herself already exist. This allows Sigewinne to hop between the 2 fields, consuming 1 charge of Tender Leap and dealing massive AoE Hydro DMG when hopping and jumping out. This also heals other nearby characters. Sigewinne's burst sounds pretty interesting to me, especially with the movement mechanic. How hard it will be to trigger the 3 Tender Leap charges is hard to tell, and we will have to wait until we can finally play her on our own. Next to that, it looks like Sigewinne will be a super solid healer, buffer, and hydro applicant for your team, and you should definitely keep an eye on her release if you are in need of a new healer. And that's basically all there is to know about the cutest Melusine Sigewinne. After reading her kit, the decision on if I want to pull for her or not was a pretty easy one. Yes, obviously, she is absolutely a must-have in my lineup.